welcome to the Old Fire Station. This is actually the last day of our Marmalade week. If you haven't caught up with Marmalade, then it's high time you did. Every time I say this, I can't quite believe it's true, but it is true. We have just run 22 different conferences in 4 days, of which this is only one. Yes, that is true. So it's been a busy week, and we've had a lot of people coming in, talking, kind of unpicking knotty, topical problems. Really interesting people from all over the country and indeed beyond. So that's great. But today, we're talking about art. This is, after all, an art centre. We're talking about art and power. And don't panic at the number of pages here. It's in really large print, so I can read it. Okay, so it's not as bad as it looks. So who has the power in the arts? How powerful are we as the makers, the funders, the commissioners, the programmers, the producers, the facilitators, the supporters, and of course the consumers of art? How might we use the power we have to change, to make change, and what is that change? So my job this morning is to provoke a debate. So where's the problem? Well, maybe there isn't one. After all, we're living in an age of wonderful creativity across media, with thousands of talented artists creating exciting new work which challenges and engages and entertains. The Arts Council is in the midst of deciding how to allocate 409 million quid a year for 4 years to a fantastic range of organisations through its national portfolio. The City Council here in Oxford have maintained its funding for arts and culture right through the downturn. We're surrounded by great cultural institutions, bringing some of the best contemporary work to the city, celebrating fantastic heritage, and working alongside communities to increase access and participation. And here at the Old Fire Station, we're the new kid on the block, and in just 5 years, we've created a vibrant art centre in the teeth of a recession, growing in quality, growing in popularity. So where's the problem? It's not as if we're not busy making work, developing audiences, evaluating impact. Looking around, I can see a host of people who work their socks off to make great work and to include as many people as possible in the enjoyment of that work. And we reflect and we think a lot about the meaning of it all. I mean, Moira Sinclair's Paul Hamlin Foundation talks about building shared ground where young people, migrant and British, can contribute actively and engage positively. Joe Baden's Open Book brings together people who may never have considered higher education as a viable option to be supported by people from a similar background to access academic study. People United, whose founder Tom Andrews is here today and helped plan today's event, they commission artists to inspire kindness and researchers to examine how all of that works. And Darren Henley's Arts Council is funding, advocating, researching to show that art and culture help us build better places to live and work and improve our health and well-being. And he writes passionately about that in his book, The Arts Dividend. So we know that the arts contribute to community cohesion, reduce social isolation, make communities feel stronger, and of course, make a massive contribution to the economy. You know all this. So where's the problem? Torch, that's the Oxford Centre for Research in the Humanities, it's part of the university. They just launched their Identities programme, and I went to the launch event. And I was really struck by something said by Professor Deborah Cameron, and I'm now going to ruthlessly paraphrase, so apologies to Deborah Cameron. But she suggested that the word diversity had become a problem. It had come to represent a liberal elite's preoccupation with being seen to be fair without addressing fundamental inequalities, most notably related to class. Now, we could certainly do it better, a lot better, but I found it's not actually that difficult to program work by great artists who are disabled or from a BAME background. And it's actually not that difficult to attract middle-class, disabled and BAME people to come and see the work. What is really hard is to program work by and attractive to working-class people, disabled or non-disabled, black or white. Now, it could be said that social change is another combination of weasel words that's code for those of us who assume we all agree with each other, i.e., we voted Remain, we worry about climate change, we welcome refugees, we think public art is a really good way to spend taxpayers' money. We don't spell out what we mean by diversity or social change too carefully, as that might give away the code. There's a built-in assumption that the people who control the means of the production in the creative industries, who in the main look a bit like me, have hit on something really good. And the task now is to gently let people in who are not like me so that they can get the benefits that I can currently enjoy. Because that is the decent thing to do. This has to be done carefully, however, because we don't want to ruin everything. Because the last thing we want is to end up with art that we don't like, that's too commercial or too populist, which would be too Trumpy. But we do want what we do to be more popular. Now, I don't feel in the least bit guilty, but I do feel lucky. My job is to help people have a really good time and hopefully learn something about themselves or others while they're at it. And I work in a sector that's based on good quality relationships, having fun, and looking for meaning. And I work in a building where, generally speaking, most people want to be here. We might moan about the money, but be honest, we love working in the arts. And we work really hard to be inclusive and reach out and be warm and welcoming and non-judgmental and so on. And I don't feel apologetic. Our programme is diverse. It's entertaining, it's challenging, it's increasingly popular. Go and look at the current exhibition in our gallery while you're here. And feel free to spend as much money as you like in the shop while you're there. We support amazing early career and untrained artists, and we found ways to include homeless and other people facing really tough times to be part of the running of this centre. So all of this is truly great. It's a safe space. So why am I presenting this provocation? Well, it's because I'm the director and I decided to. After all, it's my art centre. I expect you to bristle at that, because that is obviously rubbish. It's not my art centre. I'm just one of several people who get paid or volunteer to make this whole thing work. And I'm looking around the room, I'm seeing colleagues, I'm seeing volunteers, I'm seeing trustees. It's obviously our art centre. Well, that's not true. Because I can also look around the room and I can see people from Crisis with whom we share this building. I can see people from the City Council who own the building. I can see people we co-produce work with across the city. And I can see artists who actually make the work that we're here to put on, not to mention funders who pay for it all, or dare I say, might fund us and pay for it all. So it's obviously your art centre. But what about the people who want to come and see the stuff and participate in it and everything that we do? Is it not their art centre? Whose art centre is this? Can we have our institutions, and here I'm quoting the Belgian artist Sarah Vanni, that practice alternative politics instead of presenting programmes about alternative politics? Can we have our institutions that take care of everyone involved with the institutions? So, here is the problem. Am I actually prepared to let go of the key levers, the creative control? Not really. Are you? When I talk about art as an instrument of social change, do I explain what I mean? No, it's code. It's code, again, for stating what I believe to be an obvious mainstream truth, from the moral high ground that it's a good idea to include lots of different people in our exciting, nurturing, creative world so that they can become better, happier people. And it would be very good if the world changed to become more like a world where everyone agreed with me. That's what I mean by social change. So here I am in my bubble. Here we are in our bubble, where we feel safe because it's a good bubble. And it's our bubble, our safe space. Is the job to make the bubble bigger and bring more people in? Or is the job to burst the bubble? To quote a line from a song in our last Christmas show on this stage at the old fire station, we used to think that everyone thought like us. And then there was a series of elections.